Okay, it is 7:04 on July 13th, and I'd like to call to order the Townsend Housing Authority meeting. Can I get a roll call, please?
Hallie Call, present.
Laura Schifrin, present.
Great, and Courtney Riley, present. And Chad Sexton-Rating will be joining us later. This meeting is being recorded, as you all heard. And can we do the Pledge of Allegiance now?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Under 1.5, additions and deletions to the agenda. So we do have one that we'll put right under 1.6 after the state representative report for discussion on how apartments can be turned into affordable housing.
Thank you.
Any other additions? I think with that, so obviously we're gonna wait for Chaz for his representative report. And I think from there we'll just jump into the work session under kind of 2.1.1. Laura, I think this is the only one that was discussed last time. Just want to see if you needed anything else or had any update on the planning board master plan chapter.
I don't have an update. We were inundated at our last meeting, and I'm not quite sure what's going to happen on the 18th because we have a full agenda there. So I don't have anything right now. We do have, I take that back. We do have, Beth had put documents in our portal that we were going to use as part of an amendment to what was presented to us as the planning board. And I actually think it is on the 18th agenda. So thank you for the permission. It's not been approved yet. Planning has not.
I'm going to skip 2.1.2, the multifamily bylaws examples, just until Chaz joins us, just because, as you know, there's a lot of information in there. And we'll go to 2.2, the Turnpike Village rent increases. And I think that we were going to double check on some square footage numbers to kind of verify that the rent seemed correct. Did that happen, Jody?
Yep. The woman, I want to say Jen, responded and said each unit is approximately about, I think, 1,500 square feet. I printed it out. Hang on one second. I sent it to Lori. Yeah, no, I'm sorry, 1,000. 1,050 square feet. I knew there was a 5 in there somewhere. So, and I think the end result there with what Lori sent back was it's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, it is.
Great.
It is for that much square foot for what they are charging.
Yeah.
Whoever is in the affordable units there is getting a good deal. Because those are, well, some of them are garden and I think some are townhouses. So that's a really good size. If it is it's a good size for either one, whether it's a garden or a townhouse, really, for that much money. And Chad says he was turning on his computer. So just let you know that. Thanks for passing that to me, Jody. I appreciate it.
Sure. So I have not responded to Jennifer is her name, but I can and say we are in approval.
Yeah, do we
Unless
need,
Courtney, you would like to.
yeah, I was gonna say, do we think we need to write anything formal for that? Or is it really just an email response, you think, in it?
Well, I'm a fan of starting with the email, and if she needs more, we can give her more, because you guys did make a motion at the last meeting.
Correct.
So
yep.
It wouldn't be that big of a deal.
Yeah.
So I'll respond and let her know.
Yeah, let her know that we feel like they're appropriate.
Okay.
Anything else under that?
While we're on them,
Yep.
if you don't mind, and I don't know that Chaz is on yet, but
Calling anyway. Go for
in
it.
that light of being on that subdivision on Turnpike Road, do we know if they are going to continue keeping the affordability? Because, well, you know what, there's two schools of thought, I guess. I saw someplace where that development is in perpetuity. Like, I believe Townsend Woods, Atwood Acres and Townsend Woods are in perpetuity. Did we get to have that verified? There he is.
There it is.
So I sent out some emails, and right now, DHCD, I'm kind of playing I don't want to say playing a game, but like, I guess I was unclear with my email questioning and who I'm talking to, because when I started with some of the subsidiaries who were the holding agents of these, and they pointed me to DHCD. So I sent an email to DHCD, and then they kind of went, oh, you got to ask this person, this person, this person. And then I sent the emails, and their response, the last response I had from the person I need was, you're all set. You don't have to send anything else in. And I was like, oh, no. I am wondering how we got to this point. And so they're thinking I'm asking what we need to do to add more, but I'm actually asking how we got our list. Actually, so that's still kind of in the works. I finally
Of
got
that
back the right
perpetuity,
person.
right? Of trying to get the explanation of the perpetuity.
Yes, that's the goal. And who, I think my questions were, how many units, the perpetuity, more of an explanation, I guess, and how this came to be. They did send me the sheet, which I can send you. It's like a questionnaire, and it doesn't have a whole lot on it. So again, I don't know who was originally sending this information in.
Okay. All right. Look at it. We can all look at it, actually. If you want to send it to everyone. Jazz and Natalie and Courtney. We'll all look at it and see if anything rings a bell to us, or,
So
something.
who was I'm sorry that I'm jumping in now. I'm trying to log in with my computer. So in the past, my understanding was the former executive secretary was.
Oh, that I haven't even gotten that far as to who sent in the information. Like I said, it's been a little bit of a miscommunication of who I need to speak to, and then what the question I guess I was asking, they were unclear about. So I just haven't gotten the information that we were looking for as far as, I think my questions, and of course I left it at the office, was some question about how many units were on, whether they were not in perpetuity, and when they went on, and what was the proof needed at that time. And what they did was send me an application of what is needed now. But that probably wasn't it, because Atwood Acres and Townsend Woods, that's years and years and years ago. So
Correct.
It's a work in progress.
Yeah.
You're doing a great job, Jody.
Well, it's just about trying to find the right person, and then everybody kind of does this, and no one's in the office to call and have a conversation with. So it kind of gets delayed, and then I get the email, and of course they're very nice, but it's time is not of the essence, I guess. The best way to say this to get the information, but I'm still working on it.
Okay, so thanks, Chaz, for joining. We kind of skipped around a couple of things, so I just want to jump back up to 1.6 state representative report, if you have anything.
I do. I guess I can give a brief report. I have been officially appointed by the governor again for reappointment for the next 5 years. I have been sworn in by the town clerk, so we're all good there. I also have attended 2 meetings. One meeting had to do with the state infrastructure bill that they have. There was a little talk of the housing, but not too much. I actually expressed interest in the a committee that is looking at the housing crisis in the rural areas of the state. I'm not sure if I made that committee or not, but I did request to be on that. And I also was, I put myself in for an exploratory for, to be an at-large member for the appropriations committee that is going to be appropriating things to look at individual towns' bylaws to try to help individual towns increase their housing, whether it be for affordable housing or regular housing. And that's about all I have right now.
Okay. Under that, we did make an addition to discuss how apartments can be turned into affordable housing. So Lori, if you're available,
Yeah.
if you want to add a little bit.
Chaz, I asked for this because today it's kind of maybe just a tiny bit of a new twist on the same old question of having apartments converted to affordable housing. Now, in this case, it would be, I'm not talking about a whole development, I'm talking about an investor who owns 5 units at Country Estates and has no problem converting to affordable housing units with his units, because he has no, a deed restriction is fine for him. He has no qualms about that because he has no intention of selling them. They're an investment for his children in the future. So is that something you could ask the state about? I mean, if they're looking for increased units of affordable housing, and these certainly do fall into the category price range of affordable housing, whether they're 1 or 2 bedroom units, he has both. Is that something you can ask at the state if there's some assistance in trying to get people who want to do that?
Yes and yes. Number one, that falls under the LIP program, Local Initiative program. We are part of the LIP program for the state of Massachusetts. And part of what Jody is running into on the other thing, the state department that we need to talk to is DHCD. And we need to find a contact for the LIP program, which I can request to have a representative give Jody a call about. When we had the affordable housing or the apartment bylaw change, the next step would for the housing authority to have a process. And Lori, what I'm hearing you say is that we don't have a process and we need help with that process to establish a process.
Yeah, because we know that in the past, the answer has been no, it has to be new construction. It has to be done from scratch. And that's kind of like what we have in the other situation for the 3-family. It is going to go through the LIP program, and those documents we got, we're not really any further along on them at this point. But I know that that's happening there, but it's it's from a scratch, new construction, bottom up kind of thing. Here we've got a conversion of apartments into condominiums, and we have now an individual condominium owner who is fine. In fact, he's a firefighter in town, so he's willing to turn his units into affordable units, and that helps the community. So, but we don't have a mechanism to do that.
Correct. So Madam Chair, if you so direct me, I would be able to talk with my contact at DHCD and see if I can get the right person or department to be able to give Jody a phone call so that we can establish a connection, because we definitely need to have a connection at DHCD for this particular incident, but any other ones that we have, number one. And number two is we need to find out what their process is so that the housing authority can set that process up so that when we're asked by an individual, we know what forms that they need to fill out and where we need to send it to DHCD.
Right.
Yeah, I think that would be great, Chaz, if you could reach out and get that contact.
I don't think you need a motion for that. I mean, if you do, I'll make it, but I don't think you need one. Just direction, I think is fine.
Yep.
I have another question that I just thought of, and I don't know if you're going to let me ask. Okay. It is in reference to, let me ask first. Jody, do you have a referral form that we have either done already or have to do for 220 Main Street? The conversion.
That came in as a correspondence. Is that the one that you sent over, Jody?
I don't know. For 220 Main?
Yeah, it's the conversion of a commercial property into 4 one-bedroom units.
Yep, that is what I sent over from it's the
Planning, zoning, whatever. One
I
of
have
them.
it as 256. Is that what you're talking about? Or is this something different?
Oh, yeah, it should be 256.
Okay.
Oh, somebody else told me 220 today, but it isn't. It's 256.
Okay. So yeah, I sent that. I sent you guys 3 emails. The email from Beth, obviously, it was lengthy, so I kind of sent it on its own, but that is on our agenda, I guess, so to speak, tonight.
Right. Okay. I'll speak to it when you get there. I did a site walk there today, so I just wanted to make sure that we did have it on our agenda to make a referral back to planning board.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is one of those mandatory referrals, Laura, you talked about?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and touch on that a little later. Okay, so I'm going to move on to back into the work session. So under 2.1.2, the multifamily bylaw examples. So I sent you guys over the spreadsheet that was a bit expanded from what you saw last time, as well as the beginning of some examples. And so I can try to walk through that because I know there's a lot of information, especially in the spreadsheet. Do you guys want me to share my screen, or do you guys all have that up and available to take a look at? Share it?
Why don't you share it for our folks at home?
Yep.
Oh, right. I didn't think about that.
I am, Dave, I think you said that you were able to make me share. So just if there's a second person on there that says Courtney Bailey DSK, if you could make it so that person can share, that would be great.
Okay, I was just going to jump in and ask you that.
Yes, thank you. I'm doubled tonight, which I could use all the time, but.
Okay, hang on, because now I got Chaz coming in a second time too. Okay, Madam Chair, you should be able to go ahead and activate share on the DSK computer.
Thank you. Okay, can you guys see that? Great. I'm just gonna make this a little bit bigger. Okay, so you guys saw the beginning of this last time. So what I've done here is I've tried to get kind of a cross section of some different pieces of information from towns to compare to our own. So as we discussed, we're right here in the top, just a population reference here for everybody for each of these towns. There are several districts, obviously, in many of the towns, so that's listed here. In some cases, I didn't put on every single district just because it was a lot of information and it was maybe clearly not relevant to us. Here you'll see the general lot size, the required frontage for those lots, whether it had access to sewer service or not. And so what you'll see in here is I have a couple of different categories. So I have no, obviously is no, yes is yes. Limited is if that district had approximately 50% of it had a sewer service or didn't. And very limited was, let's say, 15% or so of that district did not have sewer service. I put in the allowed by right zoning in this category here, the max lot coverage, and then in the notes I put in the things that were allowed by special permit or other types of permits in those lots. Under the towns, the ones that are in orange are just the ones that are local to us, even though they may have some factors that are a bit different than ours. And the ones in blue are the ones that are similar to us. This came from a list that Michael, the land use coordinator, gave me here. So these are ones that could be in other areas of the state, but have some similar characteristics to us, particularly in population size. And so as you run through these, what I've got is, I'll just run through, let me run through one of these ones that's yellow just so you can see here. So in Prepo, for instance, rural residential, the lot size, in this case, they've listed theirs as square feet. So 80,000 square feet, 200 feet of frontage, very limited source service in this case. Single family is allowed, but two families allowed by special permit. So that's kind of what you're seeing here. And in comparison to us, that's probably closest to our residential B in this case, in terms of lot size and frontage. The reason I've highlighted these in yellow is anything that's in yellow are ones that I thought might be worthy of actually pulling that bylaw and bringing it to the table to look at. So you can see in Prepo it would really only be one that makes sense in terms of sewer service and other factors that would make sense for us to look at in this case. So that's kind of what you're seeing in here. General trends, I would say what's interesting in looking through quite a few of these is that some that have things like single family, two family, they actually have two different lot sizes listed. So for a single family here in Rutland, you have this 65,000 square feet, but if you had the two family, they're saying it would have to be 50% greater lot size. So they've done a few provisions kind of built in that way for the by right zoning, which is interesting. And that does happen on quite a few different ones. You can see even down here, they've got single family, two family, multifamily. It kind of has varying different lot sizes in that district to accommodate those things.
Madam Chair?
Yep.
As I was quickly looking at this, I think this is great and you did a great job. And looking at some of, maybe not in our area, but some of the other towns that are, and there's quite a few, that are our size, like-sized in population. What I find interesting is that they have more flexibility with their frontages and their lot sizes, and they don't have sewer.
Correct.
So it's almost like, well, perhaps we should be recommending, if we look at some of these other ones with those bylaws, recommending a smaller frontage or smaller lot size. Now, granted, that would be reversing a bit from where they were in the 70s, but by the same token, there's not many opportunities for building anymore.
Right.
So if we're going to increase the size at all, and especially where we don't have the by special permit, like the townhouse or multifamily allowed with, well, 80,000 is 200, 2 acres with 100 feet of frontage, instead of by us, we're 2 acres and 200 feet of frontage.
Right.
If they're in sandy soil, or again, I just keep going back to whatever the Board of Health permits. You've got sandy soil and town water, or you've got sandy soil in a larger lot. So you should be able to do a little bit more with that land rather than limiting it. And then you don't have really good land left to build on.
Yep.
Where I'm going. So I think this is a great visual and can be used to make the point of some bylaw tweaking, zoning
Yep.
tweaking.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely interesting to see the lot size, just the lot size and frontage alone in comparison to ours without some of the other things. And what I did notice in a lot of these, there are some that have some footnotes on frontage, that have some additional provisions. And so I'll make sure I grab those two when I put them together, just so you can kind of see what some other towns are doing with odd shaped lots. Let's say that maybe has the, they're looking for maybe a little bit more area, but have a reduced frontage, let's say.
Well, Madam Chair, too, if you're going to be looking into that, I know that with some of the work that I've done, not only for the Housing Authority, but when I was on planning, there is a lot of, I don't know the real estate terms, and if I'm using the wrong one, Lori, correct me, but there's hammerhead lots and there's flagpole lots. Is that what they're called?
I know hammerhead lots.
It's like a strip on one side and then it opens up in the back.
Yeah, for the second lot usually, or the third lot, like
That's-
along the driveway. But what are you talking about, flagpole?
Well, that's I don't know what it's called, but it's like a flag. If you
Oh, okay. It's hammerhead.
oh, so it's all considered a hammerhead. Okay, so there is a lot of parcels that are like that are built out only in the front, and the back is pretty much developable as far as I understand it. I mean, looking at the frontage and all of that kind of stuff is equally as important. But as a housing authority, I think with our suggestion, we need to also look into some of those too.
I agree.
Yep. Do you guys have any other thoughts just generally on the table?
I think this is great work. I know, Courtney, when I was doing a lot of my stuff, Ware and Sturbridge are the two places that I thought their bylaws were good, a good outline to look at. And also, I think it was Sterling that has good bylaws that are good outlines as well.
I'll take a look at them. They weren't on this list in particular, but let me just see where they fall in here.
Yeah. But it does show that we do need to update. There's a lot of updates that need to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think if we are fastidious in our suggestions, then it would make their job a little easier. I don't mind doing extra work for them if they need it. If you guys are in agreement with that.
So I did start to pull some of these yellow bylaws, which is the kind of part one that I sent you guys. I only really got through these orange ones just because it takes a little time to grab everything, and I've been away for a couple weeks, so I have run out of time. But I will get you some of the additional ones. What's interesting is some of them, like Pepperell, it's their two family. It's very simple. It just says it needs to look like a one family. But in things like in Groton and Lunenburg, there's even much more extensive kind of guidelines to some of those other things like townhouses and
Mm-hmm.
so, but I think I would like to try to gather some more, I think, to really kind of get us a better understanding of some of that. These two in particular, like I said, Groton and Lunenburg are pretty extensive. So I don't want to read through all of those tonight, but if it's something you guys want to just take a quick peek at some point, but I can start to gather the rest and really kind of try to synthesize things down a bit more from the general bylaws.
Yep. And then we do have historic districts too that we might need to keep an eye on as well. That if somebody wants to do something in a historic district, I agree with keeping it looking like a one family.
Yeah, and those are all things that maybe once we understand kind of some of the common things that people are looking at, maybe we're able to make a suggestion on some of those as well.
Okay. Sounds good.
Anything in particular you want to see added to this table, just that might help as a good reference point that you guys can think of? Obviously, there's a lot of other parameters like side yards and others. So I just didn't quite get to putting in all of those things. But if there's any other parameter in particular that I think would be helpful to look at, let me know.
Like setbacks and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, there's just a lot. Usually there's side yard, rear yard, all the different pieces. I could certainly put those in. They're just, like I said, it's just a little more time. But just let me know if there's a piece like that you feel like would be helpful to see laid out, and I can do that.
Okay.
Well, certainly it comes into play.
Yeah.
Depending on the lot sizes in particular. So if we were looking to go to like 40,000 square feet or 60,000 square feet, it might be helpful to see what the other towns are doing, with that.
Sure. Okay. I'll see if I can get those ones in there as well. Okay. Any other thoughts?
Not here.
All right. I'm gonna stop this share, and I'll be back again with more stuff, hopefully next time.
Sounds good.
I'm gonna keep going here. We talked about 2.2, so we'll pass by that. I capped at 2.3 on here at MBTA community zoning, just if anybody had heard any updates or had any comments that we wanted to discuss.
That would be one of the things that I know that the land use coordinator is working on. So we might need to at some point maybe ask him to join a meeting just for briefly to see if he has an update for us.
Sure.
I can try to touch base with Mike and see if he has heard anything. And just, I'll try to keep him in the loop
Okay.
when he does.
Yeah, it'd be good for us to keep him in so he knows that we're keeping that on our agenda.
Okay. Under 2.4 correspondence and clerk's announcements, and so I know Jody, we just talked about the 256 Main Street that you sent us over.
So I did a site walk there today. Would you like me to lead on this?
Yes, go for it, Lori.
Okay. And it was planning board. There was not a majority of either board there, but for this walk, although other members, I understand, have done a separate site of planning and zoning with Mike. So, so the owner wants to...
Which property are we talking about?
256 Main Street.
Okay.
Mickey
Which
Lord.
was the vet office, correct?
It was, the auto store, the auto driving place, and he had a few tenants there. Anyway, he wants to convert to residential. And he owns, which I didn't know, maybe because I just didn't look into it, he owns both the florist property and that property. He has also approached the Historical Society because it is in the historical district, and his plan is he's got a design for a facade that will make it look like the period. of the house. So we looked at the back. There's plenty of parking. There's plenty of parking because the other building actually owns the access to the back and the backyard, but then he's the owner for both. So there may be some questions about, what is he going to do about legal easement type of thing. But that's like for another discussion and can be discussed will probably be discussed in the public hearing, which is on the 18th. So one of the things that I thought of right away was because he is going to have 2 units downstairs and 2 units upstairs, and he would like to have it for, people who can't live in a house anymore and just want an apartment, but they're from, not that you could probably limit it to this, but they're from town and they just want a nice place to live and they can walk to things. That too is like near the common and other facilities. So when I heard that, I thought, I put my housing authority hat on and thought, well, let's see, 4 units, maybe he'll give us 1 or 2 for senior housing. Senior housing can be fall in the category of affordable housing, right, Chaz?
Yep.
Okay, so I don't know if we can, I personally think that on the housing authority side, we should recommend that his there's no elevator in the building, and it's going to be 2 units down, 2 units up, that he have the 2 units on the first floor be 55 and over, or senior housing. They're only 1 bedroom, 1 bath, so it would be perfect for somebody who was older. Maybe not so much for the second floor units, which people would have to climb stairs, to get to, because there is no elevator. But for the first floor unit, he could have a handicap spot out front and guest parking for that senior unit. And then in looking at the parking in the back, there seems to be plenty for both buildings. But it just seems like a perfect setup for that. They walk right in, they walk right out, their parking is right there. So that was my thoughts, that maybe the housing authority could recommend that the first floor would be really good for senior housing.
Is there any steps into the building, Lori? Are they able to?
Not in the front. They're
Okay.
able to walk right in.
Okay. And then are the units planned large enough to make sure that they're kind of age in place as well, if it's for senior housing, that they have enough room to be able to accommodate a full wheelchair inside and in the bathroom?
I know that the floor plans were there in the portal, but that's a really good question.
Yeah. He's
and-
one that cut off, so I can't quite really tell, but it just want to make sure that if we're going to propose
Yep.
housing, that we can keep them in that house as long as possible.
Right. That's really good. That's a very good point. So
We would be asking that if they would need to be age in place. So we could say that they were age restricted housing, but they need to be outfitted as age in place.
And actually, that's when you're at the time of renovation, when you're doing everything like that inside, and I think he's basically gutting. I didn't get to walk inside today because Mike didn't have the key and the owner wasn't there. But supposedly the plans are there, and the public hearing would be a good time to talk about that too. But from a housing perspective, if there was some way on the onset in this permitting structure change of commercial to residential, if there was a way to put in place to be sure that there was 50% senior housing and they count towards affordable. you're thinking? How do you want to word this?
Well,
This is for the referral form.
right. But I'm very torn on this project, Lori. You know that. I have, and this is as a state rep to the housing authority, and someone who has an affinity towards historic buildings. That has always been commercial on the bottom, residential on the top. We're also trying to increase businesses in town. So
There's plenty of places to
I
still have businesses that are empty.
I understand that. I understand that as well. And I've said I'm just expressing my opinion, and I'm just saying that I'm torn. I like the idea of increasing the housing. I like the idea of making it age in place. I'm 100% for that. I'm just still kind of torn about, losing prime commercial space in a downtown building, existing downtown building.
I think if you ask him, he doesn't consider himself prime downtown space for a commercial building, which is why he's changing it. He owns both properties. He has had his fill of the tenants that he has had there. So I think he has a right to change it to that. And it's still filling a need for the town. But that's my personal opinion.
Yep. And I'm not questioning any right at all. I'm just saying that, it's something that I'm kind of torn about.
Yeah.
It's all going to be talked about in the public hearing, and then the planning board will make the decision, and I am always 100% okay with what a board or committee has decided, because that's what their function is in town, in the town government. What I think that I would be comfortable with is saying that if it is accepted as proposed with the 4 apartments, that they ask about making the bottom 2 affordable housing or age-restricted housing.
Okay, I'm good with wording it that way. If, Jody, do you want to, because we're recommending from the Housing Authority how we feel about this coming forward to planning.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I'm hearing what I know and what Chaz knows. What about you and Natalie?
No, I'm good with that. I mean, yes, keeping the historical side is great, and there's plenty of areas where there's, we could put businesses. So, yeah, I mean, we need to get affordable housing in the town. We really do. But not at an expense to anything. Just keep it, relatively historical. But again, like I said, we need affordable housing for seniors. We really do. There's not much space in this town for seniors. And there aren't that many affordable apartments for, people that really, really need it. And that's the need, not just veterans, but other people, the general population, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. I'm all for it, literally. So, but let's just see what happens at the public hearing, I guess. So.
Chaz, I think I'm a little bit. I understand. I definitely understand what Chaz is saying as well. Just in terms of visual storefront, you know what I mean, for a business is also an important piece to that. So it's a little bit tricky.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know that as a housing authority I have much say in that. So I would say that as housing authority, I agree if approved as housing, that we would request affordable units, and if we are asking for age restricted, that it also be age in place.
Yep, I'm good with that.
So I so moved, Jody.
Okay, I'm gonna read this back to you guys because I took a bunch of notes and I want it to be. So I have that if approved, so if the housing authority moved, if approved as housing, request / recommend, or would you prefer request?
Well, the request of the owner is for a change of use permit.
Mhm.
So reducing the mixed-use commercial residential to residential only. As a side note, usually when that happens, that's not something you can change back.
Right.
You can't go and then file again and say, I want to change back to where it was 30, 40, 50 years ago. So, but that is what he's going for. And so I think he's going to need, well, a permit from planning and zoning. We'll probably need both of them, right?
Yep.
Which is why they met today. Okay. And then, and so from our perspective, should the applicant be granted the use of residential, then we as the housing authority request that the bottom units be for age restricted and aging and be built to aging in place.
Yep.
Got it.
Is that more succinct than maybe all your notes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very good, counselor.
Thank you.
Oh, don't tell anybody that. So, okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Navicol, yes.
Laura Schifrin, yes.
Chad Sexton Duranian, yes.
Courtney Burrell, yes. Any further discussion?
Well, maybe we should make one of those, whoever moves in and they are in the age restricted, that they have to be on the housing authority as our tenant
That's
member.
That's right.
Oh, I wish we could, huh?
Wish we could too.
But you never know.
Yeah.
If it's somebody who is not in the complexes there, we may just get somebody who's interested to walk over to town hall or my office and be on Zoom. Because
That's
they don't have a computer.
anybody that's in that we have currently on the housing inventory, anybody that's living in any of those addresses.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. Okay.
Okay. Also under correspondence and clerk's announcements, is there anything else, Jody, that we had?
The only thing I included, hang on, was the stormwater management. That was just, again, FYI of what's going on. Other than that, no, that was it.
We got a lot of stuff going on in town.
A lot.
I'm happy.
I'm not.
Well, the things we needed to take care of since 2015 right now.
No, I'm talking about what's are we supposed to do anything with the stormwater thing?
FYI.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit over the top myself. And I think that there's stuff in there that I don't think people really looked at and understood was necessary at all. So I think it probably needs some tweaking, and I think that's where planning is going on it.
Yep. Well, they're going to have a public hearing on it too, I hope, right? Public input or public forum.
I guess if we have to,
Yeah.
we will. I don't know. Know anybody that want to chair planning? You are not seeing me because I am rolling my eyes and bouncing my head around. Oh, God. All right.
All right.
I'm not looking at the agenda. Are we done?
Almost done. We have 2.5, approve meeting minutes from our last meeting, which was June 1st, 2022. Did anybody have any comments?
No, I did see them. I move we accept the minutes from June 1st as presented via email.
A second.
Roll call vote, please.
Natalie Cole, yes.
Laura Schifrin, yes.
Jessica Cinderanian, yes.
And Courtney Brill, yes.
As usual, Jody did a wonderful job.
Our next meeting date.
Oh, yeah, okay. One dog down. Okay. All right. What are you looking at, please?
Wednesdays, Natalie, does that still work for you?
Yeah, Wednesdays are better for me, actually, because I never know where I'm, out and about, let's say. Yes, so what date are you looking at, Courtney?
Do you anyway, Natalie?
No. Hey, I'm going to Kansas City on Saturday. Go ahead. I'm listening.
Would either 17th or the 24th?
Either one's fine with me.
Okay.
I'm fine with those, whatever date you pick.
What's the many?
17th
At
is
August?
August.
August.
Unless you want to see us again in a couple weeks.
No.
No.
Oh, wow. Your office, jeez.
I guess I don't care. I just need to know now so I'll book something on the other one.
Natalie, you said it's good. Chaz, how about you?
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
So you want to do 17th? We'll pick that.
17th at 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Okay.
All set. Okay.
Since we're on the next meeting, as far as meeting in person and all of that kind of stuff, are we going to continue with Zoom? Because as of the 15th, things are changed and legislation hasn't gone through yet. Today's the 13th. So the state, as usual, is going to drag their feet. There is a, Madam Chair, if you don't mind me throwing out this. And
Wait, I thought we got the notice that it was approved to March of 2023.
that's what I'm just going to say. It has not been approved. What they said was that they want to change the law to have them all hybrid meetings, mandated hybrid meetings until 2023. And that's what they've.
Oh, yeah. I saw the hybrid. Yeah.
Okay, but there's major problems with that, and there's been some pushback with it. What that means, Lori, is that if they
Where'd you go?
Oh, I can't hear you.
Zero. I can't hear him.
can you hear me now? I hit the mute button.
Oh, yeah. You right when it was getting good.
Don't say that. Veronica would want me to bring this to a select meeting. Where did I leave off?
I don't know.
Hybrid means
The problem with hybrid meetings.
The problem with hybrid meeting is that if, let's say, we all decided that we were going to meet at town hall, but Natalie wanted to Zoom in.
Right.
If Natalie couldn't Zoom in because it's a hybrid meeting and we posted it as a hybrid meeting, we can't have the meeting.
Oh, that's not good.
Why?
Because it has to be hybrid, it
Yeah.
has to be posted, and people have to be able to log in. That means the general public, if we're not up on Zoom, we can't have the meeting. Because
So,
we posted it.
would we be allowed to all meet and open the Zoom if somebody were to join? Is that allowed? That's not.
Yes, but the law says mandate. So they mandate it has to be hybrid. That's the thing. So the meetings have to be both Zoom and in person.
Oh, I don't care about that.
And so we can't then do all Zoom either. Somebody has to be in person.
Oh.
We've been doing,
Uh,
in other areas, we've been doing Zoom meetings, and then like the Board of Selectmen have your OWL or whatever.
Yep.
I mean, so anybody who wants to join can join. That's the whole purpose.
And that's what we want to do. And I personally feel that having a Zoom, I would like to meet in person, but I would also like to have a Zoom. and give the option of whether we're zooming in or not. That gives the board flexibility, but it also allows for more input from the community, which I think is crucial.
Very crucial.
Oh, I agree. They should always be Zoomed and hybrid.
Right. So what we can do is we can still meet at town hall, but we still have to have a Zoom.
Okay.
Having a Zoom, we can use the owl at town hall. Just understand that on Wednesdays, you've got the Conservation Commission that meets, and you've got Board of Health that also meets at the same time. So what we would be able to do is we'd have to, fight for a booking for it. So we might want to think of booking more in the future, maybe book a couple of months in advance or 3 months in advance so that we could get the selectmen's chambers. If not, we would have to book meeting room 2.
Right.
And then one of us, I'll volunteer to bring my computer with the camera so that we can be able to Zoom down there if we need to. And all we'd need to do is notify, or Jody would need to notify TCAM to get a Zoom, a Zoom ID and all of that kind of stuff.
That works.
So however you guys want to do it, I'm fine with.
I'm fine with it. I'm fine with that. Yeah.
Madam Chair, if I can add in a little bit of what Chaz was just talking about.
Yep.
The other factor that I haven't seen anything stating one way or the other is if they mandate these hybrid meetings, are they going to do it like they used to do prior to the COVID, which would mean your board would have to have a quorum meeting all together and add Zoom for the public. So in other words, you couldn't do like we're doing tonight. We'll say Courtney, Laurie, and Jody are all at town hall, but 2 other people aren't. You would have to ensure you have a quorum gathered in the same room at the same time.
Okay.
So they didn't specify that in any of the announcements they just put out.
Yep.
So that's another question that's going to have to be asked. And to add to what Chaz was saying about the dueling meeting rooms, it looks like, and I sent a note to the Board of Selectmen to consider it, purchasing a second owl in order to, if there's 2 simultaneous meetings like what's happening right now.
Yeah.
I'm hosting you folks virtually. Hartley is hosting a hybrid meeting with Conscom in the Selectmen's Chamber.
Yeah.
So if we now add the Board of Health in for the same night and overlapping, there's no way we can currently cover all meetings according to the mandate of hybrid meetings. So it's like Chaz said, it might be a fight to determine. Selectmen always have first and third Tuesdays. Planning has third and fourth, or second and fourth Tuesdays. And it's going to mean having to revamp the town's entire schedule, and every board is going to have to cooperate with it in order to meet the mandate requirements of the state. Not what TCAM wants or what the boards want, but what the state demands needs to happen.
So Dave, if let's say the housing authority wanted to meet down in meeting room 2, and you have the commission upstairs, and you have conservation upstairs in the selectmen's chambers, and Board of Health wants to meet at in the Great Hall, and you can only do 2 meetings at one time for
Currently.
Correct. So if we as a housing authority have our own equipment to be able to run our meeting downstairs in meeting room 2, we would just record it and then send the recording to TCAM to be posted?
Well, we can do that now. I mean, that's exactly what happened prior to tonight. The Board of Selectmen with the Water Department and the Board of Health all met from 6 to 6:30-ish.
Mm-hmm.
And Veronica actually hosted that meeting, recorded it on her computer. We couldn't go live with it, obviously, because it's not hosted through the town or TCAM Zoom account. But she's going to give me the recording. I'll process it, put it up on Channel 9 and on the YouTube channel that the town has after the fact.
Mhm.
That still may not meet state mandate, though, because if it's not total hybrid and we're not going to put it on TV immediately, then you would definitely have to have it as a Zoom or some other, app that does the same thing in order to allow people to log in as a Zoom participant in order to participate in the meeting. It's almost going to boil down to, in my mind, if we don't all shake out a schedule that does not overlap time-wise and day-wise, then every board is going to end up having to have their own owl at their own meeting space. The town may have to look at, besides the selectmen's chamber, Great Hall, and room 2 downstairs, you may have to start designating other places as official meeting spaces for town boards and committees to use.
Well, we do. We have the library. We have the meeting rooms at the library. We have meeting rooms at the senior center as well.
Right. I understand. I'm just bringing out things that need to be considered overall for it. I mean, it would mean on TCAM's end, there's more equipment we would have to buy in order to try and make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
Even under the best of circumstances, if we get Channel 8 up and running fairly quickly, we'd be able to do 2 meetings and run it live, 1 on each channel. But that would be the maximum unless we got, the 4-channel broadcast equipment. But then that would mean having to wire more spaces in town into the Comcast system in order to go live with any of it, all of it.
So does the mandate say that we have to be live? Or
No,
do
but
you
it,
have to have a Zoom component so that people can
right. The strict, as we understand it now, the strict definition of a hybrid meeting would be the board meeting in person and allowing the public to attend by Zoom, or if they want to go live to the meeting space and sit in real time live.
Well, the Housing Authority has the capability to do both. And we have our own Zoom account. Or I can use my Zoom account, or Courtney can use her Zoom account. We've got the capability to do it.
Yeah. There's a lot of little questions that the state didn't answer or give any kind of guidance on, other than we think we want to go with hybrid meetings permanently. Have a nice day.
Yeah, yeah. That's typical state, but
Yeah. So I would say based on all that, let's plan on doing the 17th at the town hall. If we can find a room, even, I realize there might be some other boards meeting if we can find a room. And at that time, I'll grab that calendar that I put together for future dates anyway. So maybe we can go over that and try to set a few meetings in advance, and to try to help alleviate the problem while we learn more from the state, I would say about.
Madam Chair, is that August 17th?
August 17th.
Right now, TCAM has nothing on that date booked already.
That's us.
So as soon as I get an email from somebody requesting a link, I can book it for you.
I don't know.
Right now.
Right now.
Just, in general, August onward looks fairly open except for Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Board of Selectmen and Conservation.
But as long as we pay attention, like you were saying, Courtney, to when Conscom is meeting, if we just do the next Wednesday, it might work out.
yep, that's
Yeah,
what
so-
I'm thinking.
Yeah, if you
Yep.
alternate.
Yeah.
Yep.
And just to that end, Conservation has the 10th and the 24th of August already booked for their
Yep.
meetings.
Great.
So
So we're
it
on
looks
to
like
Wednesday.
they're the 2nd and 4th Wednesdays of every month. And currently, it looks like the Board of Selectmen are every 1st and 3rd Tuesday of the month.
Which Would we want to consider booking the 14th of September now?
You said they were the 2nd and 4th, so we would be the 3rd week. That would be the 21st, right?
21st, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Yeah.
That's okay with me.
Yeah, we could do that.
21st. All right.
Lori, you okay with that?
Yes, I am.
Okay, what dates were that you just proposed?
So the next one after August 17th, we were looking at September 21st.
That's open.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Well, not until I see you.
It's coming.
Zap it, Jody.
Think I have to do Sabrina as well because I need to
Yep.
get the selectmen's chambers.
Oh, yes. Yes, yes.
Okay, I'm gonna fade off into the sunset here. Let you finish your meeting.
Thank you, Dave.
Be safe.
All right, and I will see all of you in person.
Yeah.
I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting at 8:10.
I second.
Okay, we'll call vote.
Natalie Call, yes, please.
Laura Schifrin, yes.
Chad Sexton Duranian, yes.
Courtney Burrell, yes. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
See you at the concert.